Hey, what's up, everybody? So today, I got one of these awesome Ambernick Cubes XX. Well, mine, I happened to be a little too rough with it, and the screen popped out. And so my little guy was out of commission for a while. So we're going to show how to do a screen swap in one. So luckily, the nice people at Ambernick sent me a new screen and a new faceplate. And while I had to do the installation, it was totally free. So I'm going to show how to do that in case that happens to one of your devices. And yeah, we'll go from there. Well, welcome everybody. All right, everyone. So when you start this project, you don't actually need a whole lot. So make sure you got your new front plate. We got your new screen, and you use a smaller Torx. The screws are actually hex, but I didn't have a small hex of that size, so I just used a Torx, which worked fine. And I would get a prior, so a little. You can use a fancy one or whatever you got around just to pry in between the plastic, and then a small pair of tweezers just to help you. So this job looks a lot more intimidating than it is. All in all, it's going to be pretty easy. Once you get those 6 screws off, you're going to be able to pry this apart, and it's partly held in place by the ports up top and just the plastic snaps. So it'll come off pretty easily. And once you get it open, it might look intimidating. You're going to see a whole bunch of screws. It's not. Just keep track of your stuff. You will need a Phillips bit on the inside, though. So once we crack this bad boy open, you'll have your battery cable connected. So just be careful. You just gently unplug that one and separate it. And you'll see the backside of this circuit board exposed, and you'll see several connectors. So you got your RB, LB, RT, LT connectors. You'll disconnect them. You have your joysticks are connected by a ribbon cable, and just be gentle with them. They have each one of these little tabs has a small little tab on it, or each one of these connectors has a tab. So you'll just flick it up gently and they'll pull right out. You can use your tweezers if you're worried. But yeah, you just flick it up and pull it out. And if yours is like mine, you might have a small bit of tape on there. I peeled it off and got rid of it. It's just to help keep it connected. So if you're rougher with it, it would help. So honestly, you can reapply it or use your own. And then there's going to be sets of these Phillip head screws all around. So you are going to, just like you did the outer case, you're going to do the same thing on the inside. And just make sure you have all your connections undone before you start prying anything. Issues, but it would make sense. So keep that in mind. The shoulders can be a little bit finicky, okay? So just make sure you kind of look how you take them off so you remember how to put them back on. If you've never done it before, it can be a bit tricky. I didn't want to fast forward this part totally, just so you can kind of see what's going on, how many cables there are, and to take your time when doing them. But yeah, there is quite a few. So don't try and pry that or spudge that board off without getting them. This is the small cable I was talking about. My new one didn't have this. So I went without on the way back. it almost looks like a ground, but I don't know. It might affect the Wi-Fi as well. When Ambernick sent me this, there wasn't any kind of instructions. So I just, they sent me the new faceplate and the screen. The screen and the faceplate are attached. And what happened to mine is admittedly, it was probably my fault. I had it in a bag and was being less than careful with the bag. And when I opened it up, the screen was entirely popped off and there was a break in the LCD panel. So I don't know if like the ribbon cable got unhooked, but I mean, it was totally my fault. I let Ambernick know and they were nice enough to send a replacement. So that's pretty awesome of them. But yeah, remember to take your SD cards out. Speakers will come out too. Don't be like me. So yeah, use your spudger, just kind of pry it. You'll want to do it from the bottom though. Just because it is kind of held in there by those ports. So to get it out easier, don't do it from the top. Take care with your buttons. If you want to give them a quick wipe down clean, you can. But I mean, just keep track of how they are. They're not too complicated. You have your pads. I'm not going to lie. The first time I did this, I put in my pad for my buttons upside down. So don't be like me. Do it the right way. See right there, that's not the correct way. That's where your joystick goes. So your joysticks go in the bottom ones. My brain wasn't braining because I was holding my thing upside down. Just, be smarter than me. See, it doesn't go there either. It goes up top. YOLO, you got the thing upside down. That's why it's not the same. There you go. Okay, so make sure it's the same. If you put your button pads in incorrectly, they're not going to activate right. So make sure you do that. Okay, so you have one very small piece. So keep that in mind. All right, so for the rest of this video, we're going to start and speed everything up. So this is why, you just want to pay attention to how you had it before. Make sure your contacts are correct. So don't put your buttons, button contacts in upside down. Put them the way they were. So the black part makes contact. Don't be like me and do it wrong. But we're going to speed it up. All you're going to do is swap that over from your broken one to your new one. Don't forget your buttons. So you got your connected buttons up top that'll do your volume. And then you have that small one that'll go up there. And then you'll put your joysticks back in. So your joysticks are those two spots below. They'll have a ribbon cable. Don't forget those. And then if you actually angle it right, those ribbon cables can all get put in like flush when you reconnect this back. Okay. So, just keep in mind that you have cables there. You have 2 screws for each joystick. Put them in, and then you'll put your board back on, and use a pair of tweezers if it's not guiding right. But as you can see, it went pretty smooth. You come in, you flip your tab up, put that tab up, slide out in that cable gently, flip the tab down. Okay, so you'll do that for each joystick. You'll do that for the main screen, and it's honestly too easy. Okay, take your time with it. Be gentle with the cables. You want the thing to work. So you could briefly see that wire hanging. I truly don't know what it was for. It's weird. It's like glued to the side. Is it a ground? I don't know. Would a ground work like that? I don't know. Ambernick, tell me. Someone tell me in the chat. Okay. Then you got to reconnect your speakers. Remember, each speaker's got a plug. And then take your time with the shoulder buttons. The shoulder buttons are a little bit of a pain in the butt. It's not that they're hard. It's just a little bit of an art to do it. You got to put your bumpers in first, and then you put in the actual switch, and then you put the trigger on top. So it's a little weird, but once you get it, you'll know. Test your buttons, make sure they work, and I mean, you'll be good. Make sure you have your actual can't think of the name right now. You got your actual, the rubber part on there that actually actuates it. You'll feel it. It'll feel like it did before, and you'll be good. But yeah, it's 3 pieces on each shoulder button. So you have your bumper, then you have the switches, and then you have the trigger. And they also have a connector. Okay. It's not as small as the joystick ones, but it's very similar. So just be gentle with it. Make sure it route correctly. You'll know if you're doing it right because that wire where you go to plug it in, that ribbon cable, it won't it won't flush won't be flush when you route it around. So, just take your time. I think I've said it a few times. Just take your time with it. It'll go. You can see on the left one there, well, it's the right one, but my left, how it just flows nicely. Okay. And then a lot of these times when I'm picking it up like that, I'm actually testing the triggers themselves. Okay. And when you're putting this back on, you're actually going to be using the screws, your Phillip head screws will go in the ones that have the, almost like the traces around them. They'll have the metal circles. So you'll know which ones are the outer screws and the inner screws. The first time I did this, I'm unscrewing it. I did it wrong because I was putting them in the slots where the housing goes. And you'll know the difference because you'll see they'll have those rings. I don't know the correct terminology for it, but don't forget to reconnect your power supply to this, okay? So be gentle. I would never have done that myself, right? And then look at this. Test your buttons, make sure they work. Probably don't wait this long to see if they work, but better late than never, right? So the first time I did this, I briefly said it. I did my buttons wrong. We didn't have the domes underneath done correctly. So that's why you want to take your time and put them in right. I put the whole thing back together, and guess what? The buttons couldn't be pressed because I put the domes in upside down. Okay. And also, I had no charge on this thing. Not a real surprise. So you do have to use like the cheaper 5-volt chargers on this one, I believe. So that USB-C one didn't work. So look at that. Look at that handsome face. Okay. So you hold these bad boys for a minute. They take a while and you get a light, and oh my goodness. Can you believe it? Okay. So we're just going to test it here and see if everything works, see if our buttons work, see if our thing doesn't blow up, Give it a minute. Make sure you put your SD cards back in, because if you don't got those, it's not, you got your operating system on there. So we go in, we're fired up. Game rooms is terrible. Don't use it. So we'll go over here. We'll navigate to the actual RetroArch. Go in there. Fire up some Final Fantasy VII demake. Just make sure it works, Hit the button, see if it feels smooth. I actually forgot the button layout on these, and I'm hitting the wrong buttons. But look at that. Beautiful. And honestly, it looks cooler because now I have this half off-white, half black. It's cool. My volume buttons worked. All my directions worked. Yeah. So thank you all for the love. I appreciate you all so much. Check me out on Twitch. Subscribe. Much love, all.